Red pill news, red pill news, red pill news, red pill news. I see what is going on out there for you and me. I am going to preach to you tonight about taking the red pill, opening up your eyes to the deceit of the machine, the programming from the TV, gonna change your life forever. But you know what? The best thing to do is observe other people if you want to not make the same mistakes they make. That's what red pill news is all about. And there's there's justice in this freaking world, sometimes there is justice. Sometimes let Reverend Angley preach to you the justice of Whoopi Goldberg being obese. And this is funny, right? I don't fat shame people, because it's not overweight people are the only ones left that seems to that the PC world allows others to pick on. Now, when it comes to women, not so much. An obese woman, you're not allowed to pick on and make fun of out in the world of Hollywood and the world in front of cameras in the news. But men are still made fun of. Look at commercials. Look at what they throw at you about TV shows that here's the fat guy and there's always one fat guy. Most commercials don't have fat people unless there's a reason to put fat people in those commercials. If they're selling clothes for fat people, they put fat people in those commercials. Not even so much. I was watching this one commercial, and this they have a shot of this woman, of her face, her head basically, and her shoulders, right? And it looks like she's trying to run, but kind of running. So it turns out she's this obese woman on top of a cliff, and she dives in to the water, right? And they're putting the emphasis, of course, that the commercial was geared towards what do they say, plus figure. They have all kinds of nice names for morbid obesity. She jumps off the cliff, ends up in the water. Whoosh, huge tidal wave wipes out the village to the left of her. Whoosh, people are gone, floating away. I'm just kidding. That didn't happen. It happened in my mind, which made the commercial more interesting. So she's swimming around the water, and then there's other obese women in the water also swimming around. And you're thinking, what is it about this place? There's so many obese women. Just don't eat the food there or something. you know. But they were just trying to sell something for obese women. You know, painting the image, confusing the hell out of the local whale population. Of course, they didn't know what the hell was going on, but the reality is the world is geared the commercial world is geared for taking your money out of your pocket. Religion is geared for taking the money out of your pocket. The government's geared for taking your money out of your pocket. So if they all want your money, it seems like you got some control and power in there somewhere. You know what I mean? But fat shaming is wrong to do. For I was a fat kid in school, people tortured me over it, made my life a living hell until I was tall enough and big enough where they were afraid of me. And then I was the big guy in the room. It became like that, but still, it's just the low mentality of picking on someone who's different than other than yourself. But yeah, you're not going to see obese people in these financial commercials. You're not going to see them in these nice clothing commercials or even Target and places like that. They're not looking for that audience. By the way, they say that 60% of the United States of America is either overweight or obese. 60%, right? 6 out of 10 people are pushing the pounds. Probably more American to be fat than not be fat, but you don't see it represented in commercials. You also don't see poor people represented in commercials. They're always these family settings or people who are in high-end homes, really nice appliances, nice stuff. You know what? That's not really representative of the masses, but they're pushing an image, right? And they want people to define themselves by their possessions, their wealth, but not by what kind of people they are. So anyway, that brings me to The View. I have said always that the View, I won't say it. I won't say it. Barbara Corkin. You know what Barbara Corkin is? So, Corcoran, Corcoran. She's the one. She's like the older one who's on the Shark Tank, right? The blonde haired one. I don't know if you watch Shark Tank. I've seen it. You know, I've watched it for a few seasons, and just, it doesn't have anything for me. You know, it was interesting for a minute. Like, it's interesting when you don't have no channels. You know, like if you're forced to watch, you're forced to watch something like that. Then you only have a few things to choose from. It's the lowest common denominator. But all right, so she goes on the View, and now she had to apologize to morbidly obese Whoopi Goldberg. Shark Tank regular Barbara Corcoran bared her shark teeth during her Thursday visit to The View, and now viewers are accusing her of fat shaming co host Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg looks like she swallowed a Volkswagen. And I can say that because this woman, Whoopi Goldberg, relentlessly went after Oprah Winfrey for being overweight. Not just Oprah, but Oprah especially. She attacked her. She made her part of her comedy routines. She smashed her anytime she fat, 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 this, fat, that, whatever. Oprah, anybody who has a lifelong battle with fat knows the battle. If you don't, then you have no clue. You can't even talk. You don't even have an opinion. Unless you try to actually lose weight, then you gain back, lose it again, especially if you're an emotional eater. I'm an emotional eater. If I'm depressed, man, I'm going to go for my gelato, right? So I don't feel bad that Whoopi is tasting the cheeseburger finally because she's the one who actually tortured people when she was all thin and whatever, svelte. Now she's round. I, yeah, round. The real estate mogul, who was one from the Shark Tank, 72 years old, she is, made a cutting comment. Listen to the article. Listen to this is from page 6, but listen to the way it's worded as to how it pertains. Learn from these. I put these out there so you can learn. It's not just entertainment and a story. I put this out there so you can learn for the direction of people's comments and how they basically plant things in people's minds and how they're supposed to feel and control their emotions, right? The real estate mogul, 72, made a cutting comment after Goldberg jokingly asked if she'd be able to fit into jeans that are made from Good American, a denim company co-founded by Khloe Kardashian and Shark Tank star Emma Greed. Emma Greed. That's a good name for a billionaire investor, right? She said, will they fit this COVID butt? Goldberg, 65, asked would co-host Sonny Hostin and I don't know who these people are, assuring that she'd be able to rock the body inclusive brand. Right? So it's okay for a fat person to make fun of themselves, just to let you know. It's okay for two fat friends who are good friends to make fun of each other, but it's not okay for other people to make fun of you who are have nothing to do with you, or not fat, and just want to kind of pick on your extra girth. So Corcoran, seemingly out of the blue, felt the need to chime in. She said, "When you get finished with those jeans and decide you don't like them, give them to me. I'm gonna make two pair." So a joke. That's just a plain, all right. Is that a mean thing to say? Yeah, it's a mean thing to say. And you can tell that woman doesn't care about people's feelings. She's not in the world of feelings. If you think that these people are in the world of feelings, your expectations are way too high, right? I'm a zero expectation type of person. Either if I have expectations, they're usually negative and they're usually right on target because I automatically know what I'm dealing with, all right? So, the zinger led to loud groans from the studio audience. That was all the moo cows out there trying to eat that cheese and chew on their cud while their leader just got dissed over her jeans. Moo. There was loud mooing coming from the audience. Corker was quite scared. Moo. Moo. They were mad. I got mad cow disease. Moo, mad cow disease. All right. The disappointment from Goldberg, who turned to the crowd and frowned as Corcoran smiled awkwardly. Oh, when you just like basically went on the View and you stomped on this morbidly obese host, and then now the whole audience is mooing at you, turning on you, man. And you look like the stick of corn in the room, man. You don't want to be no ear of corn around a bunch of hungry cows. I learned that after living in the country, man. The city, you don't know those things. You hear that cow jumped over the moon type of stuff. That's all BS. Cow never jumped over the moon. But cow does eat corn. All right. Navarro quickly, now Navarro is one of the hosts, of course. So she's going to rush to be the bodyguard of Whoopi. You know, she ran to her side and automatically went into orbit from Whoopi's massive, massive gravity. Navarro quickly rushed to Whoopi's defense by poking fun at the real estate mogul's sartorial choices. Her sartorial choices. Whoopi so she rushes to her side to insult this other one, right? That's what she did. She's not going to say, Whoopi, you're not so fat. You know, come on, no. She's not going to say that. Whoopi, let me tell you something. Both Sarah Haynes and Jill Biden wore that dress already on TV, she said, pointing at Cochran's floral bodycon. So this woman insults her ugly floral dress, Sarah Haynes, whoever the hell that is, and Jill Biden. So three women, three females. So she's insulting their taste, insulting what they're wearing, right? She's not saying that their dresses are pup tents or can be used to host weddings. It's so big. So and then she pulls out the big guns. Donald Trump Jr. tried that on me. It didn't work, Navarro added, referring to Don Jr. recently tweeting, given the Anna Navarro news, I think it's time for a national conversation about the dangers of COVID-19 and obesity following her false positive test for the coronavirus. So that's the problem. It becomes political. This woman makes a fat comment about Whoopi Goldberg, who has made fat comments about many people, including Oprah. Come on, man. Oprah's fighting that fat. That's why she bought Weight Watchers or whatever. Most viewers seem to take offense to Cochran's joke while praising Navarro for having Goldberg's back, her fat back. Don't come for don't come for the moderator. One viewer wrote. Anna is good friends with all the co-hosts and very close to Whoopi. Anna will call you out in a second if you come for one of the co-hosts, but will really come for you if you mess with Whoopi. You see, at that point, I would have turned it around. I would have went dozens. You ever hear the dozens, man? Game people used to play back in the day in the city, man. They were cutting them apart, cutting each other apart, insulting each other, you know? So then you start pulling out all the stops. I mean, if the moo cow audience is going to be moo cowing, may as well make them really moo cow. Despite the insulting nature of the joke, others believe Cochran meant no real harm. No, she's just an insensitive twit, right? And that's her normal life. I'm sure she insults people everywhere she goes. Oh, like Whoopi, you know what I mean? Others believe Cochran meant no real harm, but with one of her supporters, Anna is golden, but honestly, I just think Barbara was trying to be funny. Go easy on her, Whoopi. You fat broad. Cochran is a, Whoopi's a comedian that can take it. Doesn't sound like she can take it, unless it's a pound cake. Doesn't sound like she can take. Sounds like she's angry, and she used, it's her house, Whoopi's house, right? You're gonna go on the View. You have to deal with their crap, those people's crap, and they call people out on things they themselves are guilty for. There's another story, another that View host who's drooling over was it Oscar Isaac going full frontal, and she's ogling his body. She kept rewinding, and she's saying all these sexual comments. Oh man, try to be a dude on TV saying something like that. But you know what? That's the world that we're in, and you have to understand that's the world that we're in, and there's no justice in this world. And you know what? And it really comes down to Whoopi could have diffused it, and she could have came back. Whoopi's Whoopi Goldberg. She's a very funny person. She herself can insult people all day long. I've seen her do it. She could have came back at the Cocker, but she played the victim. She wanted to play the victim. That's what a lot of these guys do. Oh, I'm a victim. And then people are like, really, like, you insulted my fat Whoopi. How dare you? All right. So here's loser talk for you. Cochran later, Corcoran. Am I saying the name right? Who cares? Later apologized and addressed the negative feedback in a video shared. So she had to go out and make a video to answer why she called Whoopi a fat ass on national television. I just came back from the View and saw my old friend Whoopi as well. She has a phenomenal sense of humor, and I've known Whoopi for years, she explained. I made a joke on Whoopi's expense, which I now realize wasn't funny. Welcome to the comedy world. You're not funny. Now you're going to get hit in the head with a brick. She added, for anyone I may have offended unintentionally, I just want to say I'm really, really sorry. That's such BS. They're not sorry. Let me tell you about apologies. I never accept them, because if you do accept apology, you're giving the person the green light to do what the hell terrible thing they did over again. And nobody ever means it when they say they're sorry. They don't. They don't. They don't. So take that, you big fat Whoopi, and you little skinny twig Cochran, the old dried up twig, to both of them together. They should be supporting what happened to women. What happened to supporting the cause? What happened? Here's skinny versus fat and whatever going back and forth to each other. I'm surprised they didn't bring race into it, really, quite frankly. I'm surprised that they didn't do it. Cochran was probably scared crapless, thinking, oh man, now they're going to call me a racist. You know what I mean? Yep. That's the deal, y'all. Y'all, y'all fans of mine. Okay. This is something close to my heart. Not really. This is something that made me go, uh-huh. So, all right. It's a terrible story, actually. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Even above the guy who threw himself off a 9-story building in New Jersey today and landed on top of someone's BMW and destroyed the car, and he lived. So now he failed at killing himself, and he's got to replace someone's nice BMW. All right. Woman accused of killing dad in New Jersey home was cut from will. So the bottom line is, if you're going to cut somebody out of your will, don't tell them. It's none of their business. In fact, tell them the opposite. You're getting everything, baby. Say the same thing to everybody. You're getting everything. Then you kick the bucket and they learned you gave all your money to Hooters or something. So a real estate agent charged with fatally stabbing her elderly father and his girlfriend in his multi-million-dollar Jersey Shore home has been cut out of the man's will. Sherry Lee Heffernan 55 years old, told her 87-year-old father, John Enders, that she wanted to be the broker of his six-bedroom, $1.9 million Surf City Bayfront home and got disgruntled when he refused. A friend of Enders and his girlfriend, uh, Francois Petoy, 75, also told the cops that Enders had amended his will within the past month, cutting out his daughter and his other estranged daughter in the process. The couple was found dead with multiple obvious stab wounds inside Ender's home Sunday after the cops were called there to conduct a welfare check. Surveillance camera footage caught a white RV, similar to the Winnebago that Heffernan owns, pulling up. You take a Winnebago to a murder. You know what I mean? You pull it up to her father's North 7th Street. Talk about inconspicuous. Don't you want to be inconspicuous? A big RV. May as well just paint on the side. I'm the killer. She then leaving about an hour later with his headlights off. Even more. You get to drive an RV to a murder and then leave the murder in an RV in the dark with the headlights off. Then people are going to notice that going up the street. They're going to say, look at that RV going up the street without its headlights on. You know, at the time of day, people get mad. They're like, how dare they? The camera caught someone an hour later hopping a backyard fence near Ender's home while holding an orange bag and wearing clothes too large for them. So orange, yeah, go ahead, get your neon orange bag. Notice people have. I'm saying this because everybody saw this. The cameras saw it. The people saw it. Investigators who were called to the couple's home by a relative of Pitoy's 4 days later found a gruesome scene inside the residence with blood found in several locations and discarded rubber glove. Sounds terrible. This dude raised this girl, right? She's the one who did it. You know, he raised her, gave her everything. She's in her mid 50s. She's supposed to be set up, right? A relative of Heffernan told cops she left Pennsylvania to visit her father last Tuesday or Wednesday during a midnight dash. Yeah, she hopped in her RV and took off with the lights on. Then she killed the guy and took off with the lights off. I can't believe she did this, the family member told the cops, saying he had been the only one who drove the RV in the past 2 weeks. So she's the only one driving the RV. I think you got it, man. Uh, I like when people say, I can't believe it. You know, like, I can't believe it. You always hear that, like crime scenes or, Jeffrey Dahmer's neighbor. You know what I mean? That woman, she was like, I can't believe it. He killed all those people in there and ate them. He never buy groceries. He just buy condiments. Lots of condiments and hot dog rolls. The relative said that they and Heffernan had blamed Petoy for Enders wanting to sell his home, claiming she had been after his money. State police later found what apparently to be dried blood on the Winnebago's carpet, and the affidavit shows Heffernan did not have an attorney listed in court records. She'll get one for free from the government. So if she did it, hey man, it could have been somebody else driving that RV, right? Could be somebody else planting blood in the RV. That's pretty easy to do. It's a mystery. But the moral of the story is they're after your money. Doesn't matter who. They after your money. You get married, they after your money. You got a daughter, they after your money. Get sons, not so much. It depends on what they got going on. Usually dudes have their own thing going on. But I'm seeing this more and more in this world of, the older people want to cut people out, and then all of a sudden they die, and that's the extent of your life. That's the extent of all the love you gave. That's the extent of all the holidays, of all the things, the coming and going, and everything of everybody, all the stuff. Boom, it's about money. It's about money. And let me tell you, I mean, I don't have any kids, but if I'm old and gray and I get to that point, I'm not going to be thinking like, who am I going to leave my money to? And I'm going to try to spend every dollar until I die. That's pretty much it. And then doing crazy stuff. Oh, get a ticket and fly into space, whatever I could do. I don't know. So I want to talk about. I want to talk about. What should we talk about first? I want to talk about bicyclists, man, cyclists, right? There's a phenomenon going on with cyclists, especially the ones with the little bicycle pants on and the helmets, and they're pumping on down the road. There's a psychological effect that happens on people in their cars where they automatically don't like them. And it's weird because they don't know who they are. The cyclists don't know who that person is, each other. You're just driving down the road, sharing the road, right? Maybe they don't want to share the road. I've been driving down the road and had cyclists driving right in front of me, like riding their bike, not even on the side of the road, like right in the middle of the lane. And they're not going the speed that the car can go. They're going at their own speed. They can go keep to the right, and New York State, all cyclists are supposed to keep to the right. It's the stuff like that that makes people like, hmm. One day, I was up at Cornell in the back of it there, driving through, and there was these two cyclists in the road, right? And they're riding tandem next to each other, talking to each other, and they're going like 10 miles an hour, and I'm behind them. A whole bunch of traffic's behind me. So these guys were just, they knew that cars were there. They didn't care, and that was kind of it just felt like some arrogant attitude to me. So as soon as I could, I passed them, which is my MO for everything. If something's going slow in front of me, I tend to pass it, no matter where or what. It's just kind of the thing. So I pass it, and this dude starts talking crap. Now, all I did was pass him. I didn't honk the horn. I didn't shout out profanities. I didn't do any of that. I could care less. You going slow? You're going at your pace. I'm going to go at my pace. My pace is not interfering. Your pace right now is interfering with me, but I'm going to get around you to resume what I was doing. That's the way I look at it with passing people. It's nothing against that person. There's lots of times you pass people on the highway and they're in a car and they speed up. So you have a hard time passing them, and that's just the mentality of humans sometimes. They don't like being passed. They should just be happy in their own nature, saying that I'm here going the speed. If I'm cruising down the road and sometimes I like to grab my camera and hit the highway, and whatever I see is what I get, and that type of thing. And I'm not in a hurry. What I'm doing is that I'm not trying to get somewhere. If someone's behind me and they want to go faster than me, I let them go. I'll pull over, let them pass. Who cares? Because I don't want them to interfere with what I'm doing. And I don't want what I'm doing, to interfere with what they're doing. It's mutual respect, right? Bicyclers are different. And there are a lot of people who bold-faced hate cyclists. And because of that, a lot of them get killed because of it, or hurt or mangled because they get driven over by other people, right? So, in this case, a 16-year-old. Now, a 16-year-old, kind of young to be driving, you'd say. In a lot of rural communities, they can. I still say it's too young to drive. 16-year-old driving a truck ran over multiple cyclists after he allegedly attempted to blow exhaust on them. All right. So you got these guys with these big pickup trucks, You ever see them? The big wheels, all high off the ground, and they've got like the big exhaust on there. I guess when they rev up their diesel, they can blast out this black smoke out of their exhaust. It's very low brow and not worthy of even your attention. Whenever I see these giant trucks, I automatically think small penis. It's kind of embedded in my brain. Yeah, you know what that means? Big wheels. You know what I mean? It's a compensation thing, isn't it? And they're usually little tiny guys too. You ever notice that? Like he's this huge giant truck, 3 times the size of your car, and then like it parks big, all that. Here comes this little tiny dude jump out. Hey, look at that little guy. Just like somebody got to pour some water on it and give it grow. You know what I mean? But in this case, this happened in Texas. I'm going to read you two stories from Texas. Both are going to shock and alarm you, right? Both have to do with young people. A 16-year-old, well, let's see, a teen driving a truck in Texas ran over six cyclists on Saturday, sending four of them to the hospital with non life threatening injuries. The cyclists riding along a Houston highway. Uh, they were cruising along when a black diesel pickup truck intentionally slowed down and then accelerated in front of them to blow exhaust on the cyclists. So already, the kid's doing the wrong thing, not ignoring the cyclist. I'm going to slow down and F with these people. I'm gonna blow exhaust on them, which could make if those were like New York City cyclists, they'd shoot you for doing something like that. You know what I mean? Like that kind of shenanigan doesn't go on in a lot of places. In Texas, this is perfectly normal. I've been there a couple times, a few times. All right, so I thought someone was dead, said cyclist Chase Farrell, and I know he talks like that, so I could do it. I heard a lot of crunching like Captain Crunch cereal. First thing in the morning, I heard brakes, tires screeching, and people screaming. Okay. So KTRK reported that two of the cyclists were treated at local hospitals in Waller County, and two others were airlifted to a Houston hospital to be treated for head injuries. So who's going to pay for that? You know, your average airlift is around $30,000 to $50,000 when they bring you into a hospital. Do you know that? And your insurance is supposed to pay for it. A lot of times it doesn't. And then you have to foot the bill. You know, number one cause of bankruptcy in America is health concerns, lack of health insurance, lack of money. Farrell said the group was about 75 miles into their ride as they trained for an Iron Man. Well, you're the Iron Man. Come on, you're the Iron Man. You can't deal with a pickup truck. After the truck blew exhaust on the cyclist in Farrell's lane, the driver attempted to do the same maneuver on cyclists riding ahead and somehow culminated in the collision. The reason he couldn't stop is because he was accelerating to blow more diesel fuel on these cyclists, Farrell said. He ended up hitting three people before his brakes even started. That's the problem being 16 and not knowing how to use a truck properly, man. Blow exhaust on people. Ugh, idiot. What an idiot. All right. Farrell added that the driver, identified as a 16-year-old male, was intentionally trying to harass cyclists. Authorities did not comment on the driver's condition. There was no reason for this to happen. The driver's condition. He was safe in a pickup truck. You think he'd run over a bunch of bicyclists? Something's going to happen to you? There was no reason for this to happen, Farrell said, adding that the teen stayed on the scene following the collision. It wasn't like he was on his phone. He definitely meant to try to scare these people, intimidate them in some way, made a mistake. Isn't that a hate crime? If he's hating bicyclers so much, you know. The teen driver was not arrested as of Saturday, and the Waller County Sheriff's Office did not immediately respond. So, how would you feel if this idiot was trying to blow smoke on you? You're on your bicycle with your group of people, and this guy, you don't even know you, no reason for anything. He just wants to mess with you, and he does this maneuver and ends up running over, sending you airlifted to the hospital with a bunch of your friends, destroying your equipment, everything, and he's not arrested. I mean, wouldn't you just be like, what is going on in this country? Like, how come this guy is not sitting there, cooling his heels in a detention facility for nearly killing these people? Would he be arrested if he killed the people? So now I'm going to read you another story in Texas. This is another teenager doing a different type of thing, certainly. All right. Suspected Texas high school gunman released on bail one day after a teacher and students were shot. All right. Here we go. The Texas student who allegedly opened fire at his high school, injuring four people, included a teacher. He shot a teacher, collapsed the teacher's lung, broke the rib, got shot with a handgun. He was sprung from jail on Thursday afternoon as an attorney who joined him by his side insisted that the case wasn't a standard issue school shooting. That's got to make you feel better. He opens fire in a classroom. He gets out. And you know what's funny? I was telling one of my friends a story earlier. And he's like, well, I bet if he was black, he'd be in jail. I'm like, he is black. You know? You know what I mean? Like the guy is black. It's kind of funny how people like jump to that and say that stuff. So Timothy George Simpkins, 18, who attends Timberview High School in Arlington, will report to home confinement after he posted $75,000 bond to Tarrant County. So obviously, someone's got some money around him if they have enough to put down and get a bail bondsman. You know, it's still a chunk of money you have to put down or sign your house over. And he's 18, and he brought a handgun to school, and he shot teachers and other people. Simpkins, who was wearing a blue baseball cap and graphic TV shirt, didn't answer questions from reporters as he was escorted out of the jailhouse by two relatives in the back seat of a white Mercedes sedan. So, boom, they got the Dosh to get him out. Expensive car, right? Think about that. Think about instead of white privilege or black privilege, think about financial privilege and what it gets you. All right. Oh, as part of his release, he will also have to submit to drug and alcohol testing and wear a GPS. So, will that drug and alcohol testing and that GPS stop him from picking up a handgun and shooting other innocent people? Because as far as I'm concerned, this guy is a danger to the community and he belongs to be locked up where he can't hurt anybody, right? He brought a handgun into school and shot people. All right. Civil rights attorney Kim T. Cole, who spoke on behalf of the family, said so the family has a civil rights attorney. What the hell do you need a civil rights attorney for? This dude, a black kid who's 18, adult, brings a handgun to school and shoots people. What do you need civil rights for that? Ah, so it's becoming something different, isn't it? And it's not. She's the one who said it's not a standard issue school shooting. Okay, there are numerous school shootings that have occurred across the country, which are tragic. All school shootings are tragic, Cole said. However, in this situation, this was not someone who was just out to go and shoot a school and had made up their mind. You know, hey, I'm upset and I'm just going to shoot anyone. Right, right? This is what the civil rights attorney said. This was not the situation here. So I request the media correct their narrative with regard to what happened, and you'll all respect the family's privacy, right? Or that you should. Family spokesman has claimed that he acted out of self defense after being robbed and targeted by bullies. But he didn't shoot the bullies. He shot teachers. He shot other students. He just took the gun out and started shooting. It's not your standard school shooting, right? Wow. Look at what's happening in the world, man. Okay. Footage on social media allegedly shows Simpkin getting into an altercation during class with another student, which escalated to gunfire. The fight was broken up and the two students calmed down. But then Simpkins pulled out a firearm from his orange backpack and fired several shots that struck three people, according to an arrest warrant, right? Calvin Petit, a 25-year-old English teacher who jumped in to break up the fight, was shot in the back, severing broken rib and a collapsed lung. And he could have easily died, right? The other victims were identified as Zacchaeus Selby, Emifui Alupo, whatever, and Parisia Ultima, according to the bond document. Police have said a 15-year-old boy was in critical condition while a teenage girl was grazed by a bullet and that when they've been discharged from the hospital. A fourth victim, a pregnant woman, was injured during the fall during the shooting. So you have four people who were injured, three of them that were shot. Right? Simpkin was charged with 3 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. So this is Texas, and this is interesting. You have a situation where a dude, 18-year-old male, brings a gun to school, gets into an altercation with someone. Altercation's over, but then he pulls out the gun and shoots a bunch of innocent people, women and children. He shot women and children and a teacher, right? And one of them's in critical condition. And they let him go on for money. They let him go on bond. You are in danger in so many places in the United States of America. You are in danger. This government, because of all the nonsense they're engaged in, especially, you know, I mean, I don't know how you bring a gun into school and whip it out and shoot a bunch of people, and then you're home with an ankle bracelet, except money, right? Money and power, or that town doesn't want to be labeled as something. They don't want to play the game. They have a civil rights attorney. You have a civil rights attorney because the guy shot a school. If anything, he's the one who endangered and violated other people's civil rights in that school, right? And this is the world we're in. This is the world we're in. And yet again, Britney Spears takes off her clothes. You know what? A day without Britney Spears showing her boobs on social media is like a day without sunshine, man. So Britney Spears shares nude photos from vacation after conservatorship win. So she wants to show everybody her naked body. Britney celebrated her latest conservatorship by sharing a series of nude photos from her vacation with her fiance, Sam Ashari. Asghari. Asghari. The pop superstar, 39 years old, hitting the wall, posted several snaps of herself posing in front of a bathtub wearing nothing except for strategically placed flower emojis. Her post also included images of her on a secluded beach, blah, 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 playing in the Pacific, never hurt anybody, Spears wrote. But don't you see, like, it's just such a weird thing. She's answering these lawsuits and these things with nude photos. And if that doesn't show you like where her mentality is, I don't know, man. You know, it really is sad to see it because it's a version of mental illness. She's doing it. There's a deep seated issue going on with her while she's doing this, but the publicity around it and the people clapping their hands, and the guy that she's supposedly engaged to, who the only thing he cares about is her money, basically, right? Even people criticized him when he proposed to her. And I don't even know why the hell I'm following this, except it's a spectacle. It's a freaking horrible car accident that you're driving past. You can't not look. You can't not look. You gotta look. Oh my God, what's going on over there? Boobs. Britney's boobs. Who cares? Who cares about boobs? She does. You know what I mean? So it's kind of you know, I don't feel bad for people. Only sometimes. You know what I mean? And I think that when you allow someone to say that they're a victim enough times, they don't live their lives anymore. They live their lives. They use everything that they have, all these so-called conditions, all these so-called things they're diagnosed with, these mental disorders, defiance disorder, things. You hear all kinds of stuff. Let me tell you, man, people are people are people. And you have drug companies out there that make a pill for everything. The more conditions they have, the more pills they make, the more they get people hooked on pills, and the more it's a controlling factor. I've heard people who are very famous describe themselves as the conditions that they've been diagnosed as. They don't have an identity anymore. They have become that condition. Right. The more you see this in society, the more you deal with people with this, the more they're harder to deal with. So, which brings me to Normus Reedus and Helen Christensen's 21-year-old son who was arrested for assault. And I'm looking at this dude right now. He looks very light, we'll say. I'm not going to sing songs about Norman Reedus. He's an actor. People like the role these guys play. And, he's on the Walking Dead, right? They like the role they plays and whatever. Let me tell you, in an apocalypse situation like that, and people going around, old people, dead people coming at you to eat you. If you're the one with a crossbow, you're going to be the first person to die, and that's that simple. And but for these TV shows, they do amazing things because it's fantasy, and they can do whatever they want. When you write your own movie or television show, you can do. It doesn't have to be real. It's not real. It's a zombie apocalypse. The only thing that has to be real about it is the human nature behind it, but then all the little particular is fine. That doesn't matter, right? So this guy's name is Mingus. Mingus Reedus, right? The son of superstars Norman Reedus and Helena Christensen. I actually don't know who Helena Christensen is. I probably would know if I saw a picture of her. Was recently arrested for assaulting a woman in New York City. So now the headline is Norman Reedus and Helen Christensen's 21-year-old son arrested for assault. Now, it doesn't have Mingus Reedus arrested for assault of a woman in New York City. That's not the headline. The headline names his famous parents, how old he is, and that he was arrested for a simple assault, right? But not assault on a woman. And of course, people are with all the stuff going on these days and women's rights and everything being interfered with, or I don't know, it's a mess out there. Women still don't have rights. Men don't have rights in most cases either. So I got news for you. Mingus Reedus, all right. According to the New York City Police Department, DCPI, authorities responded to a 911 call on Friday, September 24th. That was my birthday at 10:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time about an assault that occurred around Mulberry Street and Baxter Street near the 5th Precinct, right? An unidentified 24-year-old woman told local law enforcement that she had a verbal confrontation with an unknown 21-year-old male, later revealed out to be Mingus, when he punched her in the face. The victim sustained an injury below her left eye, and she was transported to New York's downtown hospital. She is in stable condition. She's lucky she wasn't in Texas in school getting shot by a dude who's running the streets. Just throw that in there. And she's also lucky that this Mingus looks like a weak little dude. But anyway. Okay, Mingus spoke to the New York Daily News about the ordeal, alleging that the victim and her friend came after him and his group at the San Gennaro Festival in the city's Little Italy. Little Italy, what is it, 2 blocks long now? Look like Chinatown is taking over Little Italy completely. Little Italy, but all the vendors are Chinese. You know what I mean? All the vendors and their pizza tastes like egg rolls. How dare you? Celebrity kids who model. Here we go. According to the 21-year-old star, she threw his arm out. He threw his arm out to protect himself from the woman and accidentally hit her. So she's close enough to him, saying whatever she's saying. Why would she attack Mingus? And he's like, I'm going to put my hands up now to protect myself. And he bopped her in the face. That doesn't sound even remotely right. It was instinct, he explained about the incident. I was reacting to them swarming me. They were swarming me like zombies, and I was afraid for my safety and the safety of my group. His group. Who you got in there? I want to see Mingus's group, man. That's the other part of the story. He continued, "We didn't think anything of it, but these 5 girls followed us for 2 blocks, throwing food at us and yelling. We told them to leave us alone, but they kept following, threatening to hurt my girlfriend and her friend. These girls swarmed me," he alleged, one pulling my hair from my back, another throwing water in my face. Mingus recalled throwing his arms out to defend himself from the woman and her friends when he hit one of them. 10 seconds later, the police got involved. 10 seconds. They're fast on the scene, man. NYPD. Mingus shared police saw one of the girls hurt and refused to listen to the context. My intention for that day was to mind my own business and play fair games. That's what he said. Mind his own business and go to San Gennaro Fest and play Chinese checkers in his own fair game. According to the outlet, the star is expected in court in upcoming weeks. Representative for Norman and Helena had no immediate comment about Mingus. So all of a sudden, a bunch of girls start messing with you for no reason in New York City, throw food at you, pull your hair. Yeah, these guys. Guarantee there's alcohol involved. Guarantee the other stuff too. Guarantee they just got into it, and these guys weren't really secure enough to shake a gaggle of girls. But good. That's a good show to end. That's a good story to end the show with me. But yeah. Oh, I want to talk about this one too. We just don't have the time though. Don't have the time. We'll do this next week. Girlfriend draws up 17-page contract for Tinder flame after dating 2 weeks. This girl made it. I gotta talk about that. It's funny as hell. 17-page contract to date somebody. Remember when dating was easy? You saw someone you like. Hey, you want to go out? Yeah. And you go. Go have a good time. You go to San Gennaro and get harassed by a gaggle of girls and get a punch one in the face. I was defending myself. If you can't handle a bunch of girls, you're not going to handle some zombie thing, man. You know what? Apples do fall far from the tree. That's got to take Norman Reedus. He's got to be sitting there like, ugh, ugh. What is he known for anyway? Killing zombies. You know, I don't look at actors and these famous people like they're gods or so they know more than me or they know more than the next person. Or there's some geniuses. I don't look at them at all. I look at them as the entertainment monkeys that they are. You know, it's entertainment, right? You know, in the real world, that guy Norman Reedus, his character on that show, he was basically like kind of the white trash you don't want to go near to begin with, and the only reason why they did is because people wanted to eat, and he's redneck enough to go hunting. You know what I mean? Get some food, eat those squirrels, that type of stuff. But if you have the choice of living in a zombie apocalypse where your life is in danger all of the time and you have to rely on squirrels for food, man, you know what I mean? I think it's just time to jump off a cliff. At that rate, you're done. You really want to survive? You're running around with a dude crossbow on a motorcycle? What apocalypse are you in, buddy? You're in the I'm a lucky bastard apocalypse. Because you know you've seen all these other things where people just swarm you. You get a swarm, 1,000 zombies coming at you. Oh, no, I'm all right on my motorcycle. Now I got this crossbow. You know, you don't mess with me. He would have been eaten first, right? Anyway, I'm going to end the show on that note. I know you're Norman Reedus fans. I don't want to hear any negative feedback. I think he's a fine actor. I think that the role is fine. I stopped watching The Walking Dead basically when they killed that one dude. I mean, you know, Glenn. And I like Negan. I'm a Negan. I'm a Negan type. I'm a Negan. I am Negan. I'm that type of guy. You know what I'm saying? But the show had to end, man. You can't just kill Glenn. Glenn, And his whole thing, his downfall was that relationship with the girl, man. You know, he was happy go lucky, light, funny until he met her. Then his whole life went down the toilet. Let that be a lesson to you out there in the zombie apocalypse and not. Make your right relationship choices, man. That's all. And if you're driving past bicyclists, give them the right of way. And if you see Norman Reedus' son at a San Gennaro festival out there, make sure you don't pull his hair. I will say goodbye to you on the show. I'll see you guys next week on the Red Pill News. Take the red pill, take the red pill, take the red pill. Y'all. On United Public Radio Network, UPRNTalkradio.com. Bye.